Our students come from various parts of the country. Many of them try that abroad.
foundational year where all our three undergrad course students, they do social sciences and humanities, and they take other courses where our intention is to teach text, image, sound, composition, basically a sense of viewing, reading, and creating. So that is our year one for all our three courses. Year two, specifically in film and new media course, what we do that now we get to learning the technicalities of it all. So we get to start practicing with camera, we start practicing sound recording, we learn editing, we do courses on direction and script writing. And also with that, we again will be doing some film theory, some art history courses, and some cross electives that, as Professor Ritika has already mentioned, that you have cross electives specifically offered by JSJC, and apart from that, you can also opt for cross electives offered by the university itself, JGU. So across schools, also that option is there. So the second year is where we get to know the technicalities of filmmaking. And year three is what is called the year of continuity, where the students start with, like, making their own short pieces of work. So apart from all other training that continues, like the training in editing, advanced training will continue, the advanced training in screenwriting, direction will continue, sound recording will continue, and with that, the students will be making short pieces where they will be shooting their own piece, they will be editing it, they'll be doing sound, and then they will be finally putting it all together. And in this semester, in this year, third year, we also introduce a few specialized courses like acting and lights. So acting and lights, two major components when it comes to storytelling for any medium of for films, for OTT and other mediums. So these two components are introduced here in this semester. And after finishing your third year, you will the student will go to the fourth year. And fourth year, the first semester is devoted to exploring the new media. Basically, so in new media, we are what we try to do is that one gets to understand, practice, get familiar with different formats that are there now, that are emerging and as new ways of storytelling. So the idea is to make the students comfortable and with all these formats, make them learn these formats so that they are ready to go to the industry and tell stories in the format that they would like to. And the final semester is the final production semester, where the students will be again independently on their own, of course, with the guidance and help of the faculty, but they will be creating their final graduation film. And yeah, so this is about film and new media. And now I will request Professor Ruchira to take over. So.
If I may just add something that Supriya was saying, that filmmaking is in India is actually mostly a postgraduate program. There are very few undergraduate filmmaking programs, and but what really sets this filmmaking program apart from even the postgraduate filmmaking program or the undergraduate filmmaking programs is that while they're studying cinema, they're still studying history, they're still studying sociology and environment and other things, because I could not conceive of teaching cinema to young students and young minds without them knowing what their history or their geography is. I mean, how on earth are they going to tell stories or write stories? I mean, if they don't know what's happening around them. And journalism, mind you, or communication or media is essentially how you make sense of what's happening around you. And that's why you watch movie, right? I mean, I've been watching all afternoon a lovely movie by Kawasaki on a boy who kind of takes his father's car and gets lost and he gets mugged. Now, these are very simple stories, but they once you watch, they kind of convey something in you. They make you, they transform you. You know, Ben Okri, a very famous author, once wrote that beware of books, because in the deep unconscious, they are slowly transforming you. So, so these stories that we tell without our understanding so much, or even the people understanding them, they slowly transform people. And we have a naive sense of idealism. I have lived with that all my life. Now I'm graying, but I don't think so that naivety is gone. And I want to believe that young students are going to be idealistic, come what may, to be able to make some difference to lives, even if you're making difference to one life. I think that's important. And you can make a difference to many lives by telling stories, telling compelling stories. And these are different formats of how stories are told. But at the end of the day, we are all trying to change things for better. So, this is just to add that, this film program, you will be studying everything else that other film programs do not offer yet. And you can fact check this. Sorry, Ruchira, I came in between because I just wanted to...
Thank you, Kishle.
Thanks, Kishle, for that one. That was very nice. Okay, so I'm Ruchira Sen. I'm trained as an economist. I have a PhD in economics. I teach the economics courses, but I also teach the data for communication courses. And lately, that is what I'm actually now getting more and more passionate about. One of the many other things I'm passionate about is, in fact, the BA Honors Corporate Communication and Public Affairs program. It's our youngest program. And, in economics, we have this theory that says that, you should reinvent the wheel. Rather, you take what you're good at and you build from there. So that's what we did with the corporate communication program as well. Like, my colleagues, Professor Ritika and Professor Supriya have told you all, we start the first year as foundational. And what do we mean by foundations? Because here we are teaching students to communicate and become professional storytellers. So foundations here are essentially the written word, light, sound, right? And the written word here is what I really want to emphasize on, because many of our students want to become writers. You don't necessarily have to be writing, prose, journalism or news, kind of writing. You might be writing for your firm. You might be doing internal communication for your firm. You might be telling your firm's story, right? And in order to tell that story, you need to write well. You need to understand how words fit together and how to make words matter. So that's the first part of it, really, so that our students become really good writers that we will read. And worse, I mean, there's no bigger critic of writing than students themselves. So something that other students will read. The second year for CCPA is foundational in another way. It is foundational in terms of the social sciences. So here we will introduce them to caste and religion, individual and the economy, economics for development, but environment and gender and sexuality. But also now we start bringing in specialized CCPA or corporate communication courses, such as understanding the corporation, introduction to the corporate film, organizational communication and behavior, and the theory and framework of corporate communication. In the third year, now we get really specialized. So this is where we bring in data analysis for storytelling, which I teach. But we also bring in strategic communication, social psychology of the media, advertising, crisis communication, which is really important. And of course, something our students are going to love, event and celebrity management. The fourth year is, that's your honors year. So there you can take electives across the school, but you can also then do your dissertation if you qualify. And that means, since we have many prospective students here, it means you have to take your academics seriously and get a reasonable GPA if you want to write a dissertation. We have cross-listed electives from every year from the second year onwards. And that means you can take a course anywhere in the university. So that's great fun because, this allows students to develop a holistic view of the world. We don't just encourage students to take our courses. We say, take courses from any school in JGU. And that's the advantage of being in this huge university. So you can really learn anything from anywhere. And there are at least 200 cross-listed electives to choose from. Thanks, Arpit. Arpit, do you want to come in here?
Thanks, Professor Ruchira. So with this corporate communication and public affairs, we usually get one question and I need the answer from Professor Kishle. Students wants to actually basically understand what's the basic difference of both of these courses, the journalism and corporate communication and public affairs, in terms of what they study and also in terms of what the future will be.
Well, Arpit, I wish I knew what the future is going to look like, but for myself and for anyone else. But, I am a journalist. I have been a journalist, so I can let me and try and tell you that, what the two sides of the coin is. The skill set is the same. The training is, however, slightly different. In journalism, we are investigating a story, and it could be doing feature journalism and not necessarily investigative journalism, but you're investigating a particular issue and a story, and you follow it up through a series of how we train. It could be data, it could be research. It requires all these are required skills that are going to be important for both the fields or for multiple fields. In corporate communication, however, you have to understand how the corporate functions, the corporation, and you are one of the most important, what should I say, cogs of the communication of the corporation is communication, whether it's external communication or internal communication. You have to, as a journalist, I am trying to make sense of what's happening in the world. In corporate communication, I have to make sense of how the corporation works and how the corporate world works, and to be able to sync the two. Corporate communication, of course, both are undergraduate degrees, but corporate communication has many more job opportunities right out of college because there are many more corporations, as simple as that. Though I'd like to kind of also believe that journalism has an equal number of jobs because, unless you restrict it only to news journalism. One of the largest number of jobs today in the world are in the field of environment communication. I'm not talking of environment researchers. I'm not talking of scientists, but I'm talking of climate. You've heard this word climate almost every day of your life. What is climate justice? What is climate change? Now you could just do a random search and you would find the number of jobs in environment communication would be staggering, which you can approach either through a corporate communication course or through a journalism course. Both of them, because both the courses and programs will teach you almost the same skills. It's how you approach it. You approach in journalism program, you approach the story in a different way. Out here, the story is already out. How you are going to be able to handle that story. Sometimes journalists and corporate communications are on two sides of the table, but very often I'd like to believe that the best corporate communication people are actually former journalists. That's because, again, the skill set is the same. Also remember, which Ruchira mentioned, that one of the things we are very proud of and we don't want to give up on that, however tedious it may sound to our students, is writing. No one is going to teach you writing once you pass out of school or college. Your employer is not going to tell you, oh, your writing is horrible. But your writing is going to define who you are. Your writing is so important. I mean, it's if I'm allowed to digress, let me tell you, the finest bureaucrats in the government are people in, say, for example, in the Prime Minister's cabinet, there would be people who make notings. Okay, in bureaucracy, you have something called notings, and there are bureaucrats who are well known in the bureaucracy of how they make notes in certain, a paper comes and they make notes, right? They have legacy of people saying, oh, this man's notes were terrific. The current governor of Tamil Nadu was a very close friend of mine once, and he was a special director of Intelligence Bureau. And, in the morning, in front of the Prime Minister, there is actually one A4 size paper in front of all prime ministers across the world, presidents and prime ministers. And that A4 size paper actually lists down the day's events and happenings, okay? They don't get time to read many newspapers and many things. Now, someone needs to write that one page. That one page is a very important page. Imagine that one page is going to tell the prime minister about what to do today or what has happened or what has happened around the world. Now, that requires someone with a special knack for writing. And so his name was Mr. Ravi, and Ravi would write that one page. I knew that. I don't know who writes it these days, but there are people who have this special facility of writing or speaking. So this is something that we will hone on you every semester. Every semester you will go through a writing course, because this is something that you will not learn later. I don't know, I kind of digress from what Arpit asked, but Arpit, like I said, that actually it's two sides of the same coin. It is communication, how you communicate well. In journalism, I'm communicating for the rest of the people. In the corporate communications, I'm communicating for the corporate, but I need to have the best interests of everyone in mind. And that is why ethics becomes a very important course in the corporate communication and public affairs program. We need to be ethical storytellers. We need to be ethical communicators. And I think what is also important is that the fundamentals out here are we pay a lot of stress on fundamentals, because and I'd like to invoke my predecessor, the founding dean of the school, Professor Tom Goldstein, who was a former dean of Columbia School of Journalism and the Berkeley Graduate School of Journalism, came with tremendous experience. So I learned everything from him. But Tom and I were on the same page from day one about two things. We said, we can curate a curriculum with a lot of courses, different courses, which we've done, but we want students to read and write well. As long as they read and write well, I think I'm happy to see them graduate. Rest of the lot of other stuff you'll pick up on the job, but you will not pick up reading and writing on the job. No job is going to teach you that.
Just to add, sorry. I wanted to just step in here with a slightly more bureaucratic answer. Now, Kishle was, of course, very inspiring, but I'm just going to answer very bureaucratically. The difference between JMS and CCP is that the courses are different. So first year is the same, and second year, there are a lot of courses that are similar. However, there are now some CCPA specific courses versus journalism specific courses. So corporate communication has courses on understanding the corporation, the corporate film, theory and framework of corporate communication, advertising, marketing, crisis communication. Journalism, on the other hand, has more journalism-specific courses, which include, reporting off center, which is reporting on the region's desk, or understanding the law, media and the law. Investigative journalism, reporting elections. So the difference really comes in the third year, but even in the second year, there are certain specific journalism and CCPA courses.
That's great. So I think because the students needs that difference, because they need to know it before choosing the right option. Now I'll move to some more important questions, which again comes from the students and parents, both of them. These are two. One is what kind of international opportunities we get when the student is with us in the school, and the another is about the internships and career opportunities. So, Professor Ruchira, can you please throw some light on the international opportunities, the collabs we have across the world from the school side and from the JGU side?
Sure. So there are 4 types of international student mobility that JGU offers. One is called the semester exchange. The semester exchange will allow, this is usually with our partner universities, this will allow you to pay fees in JGU, but you can go abroad and just pay your living expenses. Right now, for JSJC students, there are 24 universities offering semester exchange at the moment. But of course, there are much more, like JGU has at least 200 partners. Then there is the other kind, which is called semester abroad. Semester abroad means that you pay the tuition fees there as well as the living fees there, but your JGU fees for that semester is waived. So here we have had many students who have taken advantage of this opportunity. Many of our own students have gone to UC Berkeley in particular, but there are various others such as the University of Westminster, Wisconsin-Madison, which offer these kinds of opportunities. Then there's the dual degree program. Right now, JSJC has dual degree program agreements with Deakin University in Australia, Murdoch University in Australia, Queen Mary University of London at the UK, Loughborough University London at the UK, with whom we have also done many research projects, University of Kent at the UK. And finally, you have what is called the STSAPs, or the short-term study abroad programs. That is when you can go for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And these are very popular with our students because they don't, interfere with the full semester. And so far, we have 10 universities offering STAPs open specifically to JSJC students. And they include, Harvard University and University of Oxford and, particularly like the United Nations Immersion Training Program. So very, very prestigious places.
We also have immersion programs, which we do host in the Jindal campus. In fact, currently, there are about 100 Australian students in the campus as we are speaking. In October, we had an immersion program at the JSJC, at our communication school, with the students of Griffith University. And we were working, our students and Griffith University students were working on rivers, a project that we want to take forward. In fact, if any of you join, then next year, maybe you'll be part of that immersion program as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
I'm Ashish Niranjan. This is for my son Siddharth that I'm trying to understand. How important is it to do a PG course after the completion of the undergrad course in communications and public affairs for a corporate communication job, purely from finding a good job point of view?
Ruchira, you want to take this question?
Sure. Now now that NEP has kicked in and we have the 4-year program, we have designed our courses such that our students will be industry ready straight after the bachelor's. However, do we recommend that students go for a master's? Of course, it is always a good idea to go for your master's. Many of our students, sometimes they go and, they start working. They work for some time, they gather some experience, and later they go abroad to really prestigious universities for their masters. That's also an option that is open for our students. So, it sounds convoluted, but essentially what I'm saying is that our program is enough to get you a job. Should you go for a master's? It's always a good idea to go for your master's. What I would recommend people to do, I have a son. So what I would recommend for him to do is, go to college, start working after that, gather some work experience and get an idea of what the working world is like. And then later on, go back for a master's.
Thanks for that.
Also, if I can add one more thing over here. Since Jindal School of Journalism, I think, is the only school that is currently offering an undergraduate degree in corporate communication, I think the job prospects are anyway going to be very bright, because these students will be fresh graduates who have an ample amount of opportunity out there. If in case they want to go in for higher studies, that's an option they want to take, they may, but otherwise from a job market perspective, they'll have a lot of opportunities because very less competition.
So in that context, do you have campus placements for these students?
We, Mr. Ashish, we do not have placements. We have guaranteed internships that are given, that our Office of Career Service arranges for every semester. So across 8 semesters, they will be doing 7 internships that will be provided to them. They will have a choice, of course, of a number of where they want to go. And then while we are saying that they will be industry ready, and they are actually industry ready, I can vouch for that, for the fact. In the long run, in any organization, in any job, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they do evaluate and assess people's promotions and rise according to also whether they have a master's degree or not. So, I mean, many jobs would prefer a master's degree. So while they may spend a couple of years in a communication industry, and communication industry, like Ritika said, is a vast industry. I mean, a lot of people forget the fact that, every organization in the world, every organization, private, public, quasi public, I mean, whether you're talking of NASA, whether you're talking of Jindal Global University, has a communication office. I mean, in today's world, it is inconceivable for any organization to function without a communication cell. Communication has become so integral. So that's that way. The opportunities will be ample opportunities.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Just one more kind of that goes in my mind. I want to share it with you and to understand from you all. Will there be a conflict from people who do MBA, a regular MBA in marketing and the various specializations in MBA? Because what happens typically in India, we see a lot of jobs are offered to guys who have an MBA degree compared to these new streams of degrees that are coming in. So do you see a conflict out there, or both will go parallelly and depends on how a particular individual shapes up later on in life?
I believe both will go parallelly because, MBAs firstly are oversaturated. There are so many, and often you don't get an idea of exactly what they're specializing in. Here we are strictly focused on communication, and that is something that we are good at. So, it's coming from our own expertise and our own kinds of specialization. And secondly, I mean, I don't see why they can't go along with MBAs. Because this is something that is new and radical in that sense.
Also, if I may share, I was asking my my counterpart in the business school, Mayank Dhondiwal, I was asking Mayank, to suggest some faculty for our corporate communication course, and Mayank said that that's a really tough area for in business schools to get communication experts, and all business schools, all corporations are looking for communication experts in the real sense, not communication experts as in fly by night, but real good communication experts. One of our person's advisory board who runs a very successful corporate communication firm, when I suggested to him that we are starting this course, he just grabbed and he says that I'm going to take 20 every year if you can make sure that they write well. Because it's such a dearth of people in the industry who write well. I mean, these are, so this is the industry. Also, I'm visiting a friend of mine out here right now, who is an MBA, who was a computer engineer, went to the IIMs, did his, corporate journey, and then quit. And what he does is corporate storytelling. I mean, I am envious of him. He makes big bucks just telling stories. I mean, I thought I knew the stories, but obviously he tells the stories in a way that earns him the bucks that I can't. But corporate storytelling is like a really, really big, coveted corporate MBA occupation.
Thank you for that. Thanks for sharing the perspective. I am a senior VP with one of the multinational oil companies here in India, in Mumbai, and I do shipping for my companies. I do shipping, I do oil and gas, and I value communications a lot, and I see the value of storytelling, which eventually helps you either get a promotion or get a better job, even in a non-communication sector if you are there. So thank you for all the perspectives, and we'll take it forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Professor Kishle, when we are talking about the opportunities, and even we spoke a bit about the internships, can you please even elaborate more about how our career service department works and how the students get the internships?
Well, the career service department is a very robust, office, and every student will, they register into something called Superset. Which means their resume and the CVs are made out there. And well before the semester ends, they are given options to choose from. They pick their options, and some organizations want an interview, want an entrance, others don't. We personally, if students would come and ask us, which they do because we've got we have a program called the Faculty Advisor Program. So each student is attached to a faculty for guiding, which is extracurricular, curricular and extracurricular. We guide them through the 3 years and now 4 years. So we advise them to try everything, starting from social sector. The kind of experience that they will pick up in social developing sector is almost unparalleled, because that's where you can get your hands dirty. A newsroom experience is also interesting. Very often our students get bylines, which in my time was unbelievable. I mean, it took me years to get a byline, but now they get byline even as an intern, which is very good. But that's not going to be the general experience. The general experience is to be able to, get the vibe and the feel of our newsroom, the adrenaline. In fact, there are times when it makes sense of what you're doing is the right thing. And this morning I woke up and one of our students interning somewhere, this is what the student wrote to me, and let me just read it out to you if that kind of tells you a story. So the student is writing that I enjoy being in the newsroom. The job is draining, yet so much fun. One returns with so much of satisfaction. And then goes on to say, the one thing I have discovered about this profession is how it exposes you to dramatically different situations in a single day. In the morning, I was covering a social sector. In the evening, I was speaking to a PR lady at Khan Market. And I was thinking that in a span of few hours, I've been exposed to two ends of the spectrum. I think that's the beauty of the job. I can't love it more. Every night, I sleep after making some meaning of the day. I await to wake up the next morning and go to work. Every day is truly a new day. I mean, I think it kind of sums up to the experience that our students get through internships. They intern in production houses, they intern in newspapers, they intern in legacy and in independent organizations, for websites, for film production, animation companies. So it's a very, very wide variety of companies that we have listed. And with each passing day, we try and actually sign up collaborations with these companies. We have, even as JSJC as a school, we have collaborations with a number of companies that where our students can go and intern. So internship is now like I'm very happy with our internship program. That's all I can say. Few years back, I used to grumble about it. Now I'm in a good space, a happy space with internship.
So, sir, we spoke about the opportunities with the journalism and the corporate communication courses. The similar way, what kind of opportunities the students of our film program gets? Even it may be in terms of internship or in terms of what kind of work they will be doing.
So the film students also do internships across production houses. Film production houses, because that's what they are supposed to do. But they are free to intern anywhere they feel like. So it is not compulsory. It's compulsory. Internship is compulsory. The Office of Career Service will provide you an internship. That's guaranteed. But if a student wants to or wishes to go and intern somewhere else, they'll have to, of course, give a disclaimer and tell where they're interning and get a certificate from there. For example, we've got many research centers. I'm making a film, and there could be students interning in that film with me in a more structured way. I am currently working on a couple of books, and there are two students who are working on those books, and that could serve as their internship as well. This is another opportunity that I did not mention, that across the university, we have several research centers, and the students can be associated with these research centers. It makes it very nice to have these mentions on their resumes and CVs. Also, we curate festivals, big festivals where they can volunteer. They can be part of it. They can ideate with those festivals. There are opportunities like the 4 years that they will spend at Jindal. They will have international exposure. They will have domestic exposure. They will have social sector. They will have film production, television broadcast, print. But coming back to your question, Arpit, that apart from the internship opportunities, cinema in India is a different story. Unlike other countries, we have the largest film industry on this planet. And film typically has never been a job. So you don't get a job in a film industry. You can get, but most filmmakers or film professionals are independent. Though now you have very big production houses like Red Chillies and other entertainment options. Also remember that a person who is doing a film and new media course doesn't necessarily have to only make fiction films or documentary films. That same person could end up making corporate films. And let me tell you, corporate films are like the top of the tier. They actually demand a huge, it's a huge employment opportunity of corporate films, advertising films. India has one of the best advertising films. Actually, this is one area. I started my career in advertising agency. Sorry, I didn't mention that. But that was like a small little part of my life, completely forgotten, actually. I started with an advertising company called Rediffusion in Bombay. Worked on a battery ad, I remember. But advertising, big money, huge opportunity, great career, very exciting. I mean, advertising films, who makes those advertising films? I mean, they're filmmakers who make that. So filmmakers do have a large and very robust industry to get absorbed. It takes a little time to navigate yourself out there. And that is why we felt that an undergraduate degree and then a postgraduate would give them a much better foothold and toehold into the industry. Because the film industry is not a all pervasive one. It is restricted to certain areas, and that's why it makes it more demanding and competitive. And with filmmaking undergraduate 4 years training, I think they'll be in a very good space.
Also, I would like to add one thing here. I have seen mostly there is a mind block among students that you have to be in Bombay if you are a film student or if you eventually want a career in filmmaking, which is not true, I would like to say, because it isn't just the film industry. You can make films with independent filmmakers, as you can make corporate films, you can make documentary films, and with the new media being so democratized in today's day and time, there are OTT platforms, there is YouTube. You can hold your camera, and if you know how to tell the story, you make a film, you publish it, you send it to different film festivals. So you have a career anywhere. You literally don't need to be physically situated in Bombay. And same goes for internships as well. So you don't really have to end up in Bombay to have an internship. There are ample opportunities here in Delhi and NCR too.
Professor Supriya, while we're teaching a film program here, can you please tell everyone that what kind of facilities in terms of infrastructure, in terms of faculties we have for the film program?
Yeah, Arpit, thanks. So in terms of faculty, I would first like to talk about the faculty here. So we have in our FNM course, we have faculty members who are teachers as well as practitioners, faculty members who have been working in the industry. And we have faculty members from FTII Pune, SR FTII Kolkata, and I am from National School of Drama, Delhi. And apart from us, there are also some visiting faculty members who have come for master classes, and we are hoping to have them back with us in coming years and coming semesters, who are some of the, I will say, some of the best technicians and actors from the contemporary Indian film and OTT scenario. So we also have them. And when it's about infrastructure, I would like Professor Ritika to talk about the infrastructure of FNM and also JSJC.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, that we have for the journalism course, we have Radio JSJC and JSJC TV also. We have a fully equipped radio studio. We have a television studio. We have multiple video cameras, editing units, audio recording equipments for the journalism program. But alongside for the film program also, I would like to say that, we have industry standard audio and video recording equipment with a state-of-the-art studio and editing suites. It would just be like throwing names because I'm not sure technically how much the students would be aware right now, but we work with very high-end professional cameras that are used in the industry, like Sony FX6. There is Sony A7 IV cameras with premium Zeiss quality lenses. We have a Samyang Cine lens setup that is used for film students. We use, again, industry standard microphones from Sennheiser, which are shotgun microphones. We have wireless microphones. We also use digital audio recorders like Zoom F6 digital recorder. I would also like to mention that we have a fully equipped sound and dubbing studio, which also has the facility of sound mixing. We edit on Mac machines. We have access to Adobe Premiere and DaVinci Resolve for nonlinear editing purposes. For film students specifically, we have acoustically designed classrooms. There is 4K projection, 5.1 surround sound. If we are to randomly look at the different film schools that are providing the kind of digital infrastructure that I am talking about, I doubt if there are any at par with Jindal at the moment. And also to mention that we are a film studio is under construction, and I'm hoping that by the time the academic session starts for the next year students, it should be ready and functional.
Yeah, and I would like to add to this, like with all this infrastructure, what I have been seeing is a lot of basically a lot of effort of doing very meticulous technical work. So, like, we have all these equipments, and when we do teach editing, it is really meticulous. When we do teach work on sound, from recording to mixing, and when we do teach handling of camera and direction. So there is a lot is going on in that students do learn the details and do get comfortable, get at ease, and do master it before they leave. So yeah, so that's it.
Thanks, Professor Supriya, to tell us more about the hottest course, I would say, at this point of time in JGU. So I'll open for the questions now from the students and the parents. Please raise your hands, and then you can unmute and ask your questions. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Yes, Swati ma'am, please.
Hello. Yeah, my question is to Dr. Kishle. Dr. Kishle, I can't agree more on writing. And 2.5 years of lockdown, I think our children have lost out a lot on physical writing, and the whole writing is like everything is digital. So when you say writing and you specify writing being most important, do you have inbuilt program within the curriculum which hones the skills of writing?
Yeah. So there'll be one core paper. So we have core and electives, but core are the compulsory ones that every student must write. And right from first semester, every semester there is a core writing course, which takes them through the whole trajectory of writing. And there can be endless debates of what we teach in writing and what we should teach in writing, which is going on. Which will go on. I'm happy that goes on. But I kind of end the conversation, at least for myself, with just one line. For me, a good piece of writing is a good piece of writing. The school has people from academia and has people from the industry. And I am an industry person. Like I said, that I've accidentally found my way into academia. Ruchira is fully academia. Ritika is practice, but then she betrayed us and went to academia. And there usually is a debate around academic writing and journalistic writing, and I find that quite a redundant discussion, because for me a good piece of writing is a good piece of writing, and whether it's an academic piece or a journalistic piece or a corporate piece, I should be able to enjoy that piece of writing. It's like reading a book and getting hooked to it. Why do you get hooked to a certain book and you don't get hooked to a certain book? That's because of the quality of writing. And it's very tough. That is the toughest subject to teach. It needs individual attention. We have small classrooms, which is another USP of JSJC compared to many other schools, which was again thanks to my predecessor, because when he came, our first classroom was 60, because that the Haryana Private Universities Act allowed that. Now we actually have 15 in a classroom. So, 15 to 25, that's the kind of thing. So we could bring it down. But when he came from Columbia, from Berkeley, he could not believe that there could be 60 students in one classroom. And I had to tell him that we are a country of 1.4 billion. We can't be having just 15 students in a classroom. I mean, we'll be just setting up schools and colleges. But we could limit the numbers, because we are, as I call it, a boutique school. And we are happy to have less numbers. Now we've got numbers capped. So I'm grateful to my Vice Chancellor for allowing us to do that. And that really helps in the writing course, because and in other technical courses, because you need hands-on. And yet, as I'm speaking to you, I'm every day thinking of how to make it better and better and better, because it is really, really tough. I mean, even adults can't write well. So, imagine
Agreed.
17, 18-year-olds and coming out of, as you mentioned, that COVID, which we've so quickly forgotten. Also, the other thing that I don't know whether, I'm sure it's in your head, but the challenge that we face is with the AI generative, writing. I mean,
Absolutely. Agreed. More than 100. Can't agree more.
yeah, I don't know what to do with it. So we will all, I think that's like an entire universe has to sit together and figure out what to do with that.
So, do you have something in sports journalism? My son is very heavily into sports. So,
We've had a couple of students express interest in sports journalism. So that's why we kind of collaborated with Loughborough University. Loughborough, London, and Loughborough Midland campus has the world's best sports journalism. We've also collaborated with Australian universities with sports journalism component. And I want to include sports journalism because, again, we've got very fine sports journalists in the country. Say, for example, the people who cover sports in Indian Express. And I actually use some of those pieces to explain even good writing. They write so well. It's like they're describing a cricket match, but you would just kind of, get hooked onto the style of writing. I think the two kind of writing that I actually show to my students is, one is sports writing. Sports writing across the world has very high caliber of writers. And the other writing is people who write about music. They write it so beautifully. I mean, I still remember about Bismillah Khan, a piece written by a journalist called Shuangshu Khurana, who writes only on music on Indian Express. And she begins by saying the rag was kafi. It was early morning. In his whatever typical black achkan and a topi, he blew life into the reed for a new nation as India became independent. So it was Bismillah Khan actually, playing the rag kafi on 15th of August 1947 after Nehru.
wow. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful way of starting a story, you see, of telling a story of one of the greatest musicians. So I think, I take your, this has been in my mind of introducing sports journalism. We also have something called, departmental electives, which we start offering in the third semester, in the fifth semester, where we give a bouquet of courses to the students, of which they, say, for example, there'll be 8 courses and they need to pick 3 of those. Out there can be business journalism, sports journalism, investigative journalism, feature writing, beat reporting. So there are students who get the option to choose of those. So maybe we should actually consider sports journalism as one of the departmental.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the consideration. Just one last thing. I heard this double degree kind of a thing with Australian. Can you explain a little bit on that? What does that exactly mean?
Ruchira, you want to take the dual degree?
I'll take that one. Dual degree, ma'am, usually what we do is, so what most universities want, they want it to be like a 2+2. So you do 2 years in Jindal and then you go to a partner university for the other 2 years. And then you get a degree from both universities jointly. So your bachelor's is jointly awarded by two different universities. That's the system. We have options now which are becoming more and more available. At least 8 partners have signed on, and they're very serious about it. So far, so far, most of our students have obtained the semester exchange or the semester abroad model. Not too many have come forth for the dual degree yet. But, times are changing, and it's an interesting period to be in higher education right now.
Correct. True. Yeah. So you have a group, you have a cell that will be guiding students as to how to approach the journey, right?
Yes, it's called the International IAGI, International. I can't remember the full form. What was
Office
it?
of International Affairs and Global Initiatives. It's
That's global.
is the name of the office, which guides the students only for their international opportunities, whatever it is, like semester exchange or dual degree or short-term programs.
And in addition to IAGI, we have a committee within the school of who look after international collaborations. We have Professor Suruchi Mazumdar, Venu Arora, Arundhati, Sara, Zia. So there are 4 persons. They look after the international, and they help students. They guide them, and also remember that each student will have a faculty mentor and a faculty advisor. So
that's very helpful. Yeah.
At every level, they'll have. Sometimes I feel that should we or should we not? Because when they go abroad, then they are for a rude shock because they get to meet their supervisor like 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the semester. That's all the time that they get. So out here, the indulgence is huge. But I think I'm happy indulging.
Yeah, if we are boutique school, we don't mind hand holding a little bit. Yeah. So just one last thing. How do you make space for any kind of recreation or sports for children when they are 24 hours on the campus? They need to also this generation will be most happy sitting on their devices. So how do you encourage that?
Since you mentioned sports journalism and now you mentioned sports recreation, it is a sports campus like on steroids. We have massive sports infrastructure. Everything about this place makes me envious, but it's so because students will just fall in love with it. We have floodlit football, hockey, basketball, tennis courts till midnight.
And cricket also.
Cricket. My vice chancellor actually played cricket at a very at the district level, I think so, of Tamil Nadu. So he was an all-rounder. So I think these are things. I think we all have this in our what stuff that we wanted to do or we love to do. We try and also introduce these things. Like I wanted to go to a film school. I don't know why I didn't go to a film school. So when there was an opportunity to set up a film school, I said, okay, let's set up a film school. So similarly, we have a large cricket pitch. We have swimming pool. Right now, a lot of sporting infrastructure is under construction. Also, the benefactor, the Chancellor Naveen Jindal, he loves sports. He is a fitness enthusiast, and I don't know how many schools and universities in the country offer this. Universities, some schools do, but we have horse riding.
We have our own polo ground stud farm.
We have our own. We teach horse riding and polo. So we have high steed horses, and in Jindal Global City, that's the area where Ruchira has her residence, and so sports is major.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I can also add on this that I don't think so. This kind of sports facilities you will ever find in any other university or college in India. That's the level we have here. And even as Professor Kishla mentioned, that these are all floodlit. So even after the classes, if you are even playing at night at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, that's not an hassle.
Yeah.
And the new sports complex we are coming up with this squash courts and the indoor climate control swimming pool, even a hanging jogging track. That's a new thing coming in India. Even there is no Indian companies ready to make that. So we are calling a company from US to just prepare that. So now I'm also getting some questions on
Thank you. Thank you so much.
in the chat box. So I'll answer that question first and then we'll move to the other questions. So to everyone, because this scholarship is a common question, you will get an application for scholarships after your registrations are done. We offer the scholarships, which is on a merit cum means criteria, which means one, your entrance exam score, your interview score, your 12th board score, all will be counted. And based on that, you will get some points. And also, there is another factor we count, which is the parental income. So that comes under means. So parental income, we include both the parents. We even call up their ITRs when the application of scholarship will be open. And if your parental income is less than 50 lakh, then you are eligible for these scholarships. And what kind of like how much scholarship you will get, that all depends on the merit cum means score, and this can range between 10% to 30% of the tuition fee. So we can have some other questions now. If there is any student or parent looking, please raise your hand.
Hi. I can see the brochure in detail. I've gone through, but I'm missing at the moment. Can you broadly explain the figures in terms of total fee payable for this corporate communication and public affairs course?
So the course like corporate communication and public affairs and also the journalism, the fee is same. So the tuition fee is 3.5 lakh rupees per annum. And the residential fee is 3.10 lakh rupees per annum. So which makes it 6.6 lakh rupees per annum. And also in the first semester, there will be a security deposit of 50,000, which will be refundable whenever you leave the college. And so the same fee will carry on for your next 4 years.
So the residential fee, when you say it includes the mess cost and everything?
So the residential fee includes your stay, food, all the facilities of the campus, and laundry.
Sure. Thanks.
And one more free thing that we offer, and when I'm saying free, I'm comparing it with the best universities worldwide, is that our cross-listed electives, more than 300, from where students can choose, all courses are free, offered by other schools, which is not usually the case in universities in the West, where if you opt for different courses, you pay for each course. But out here, this entire thing comes free.
Thanks for that. Thank you.
So any other question from the students side? Because we were getting some questions in the chat box. We have already answered those questions. I think we have one more question there.
Hello everyone. Good evening.
Yes, Shambhavi.
Sir, I wanted to ask what about the preparation for PG, CUET in multimedia and communication? Like when we'll do the honors course, like the 4-year honors course in mass media. So, like we'll be able to prepare for the PG, CUET also alongside with that.
Shambhavi, see, you can prepare for any entrance exam that you want. Many of our students have, they have prepared for GRE, they have prepared for LSAT also many times. So, of course, you can prepare for, whatever entrance exam you want, but that's not a part of the curriculum. You will be doing that on your own time. And the rest of your time you will be spending on the curriculum. Time management is it is something that every college student studies with, but that is adult life. You will get very, very good at it in 4 years.
I wanted to ask that, ma'am, the curriculum for the syllabus for that PGCUET in all over India, ma'am. So and for the multimedia that the general schools are offering, ma'am. So it must be like somewhat around 50-60% same. Something will be different, like for some modification and other thing, but the base would be same, right? Like it's for media.
She's talking about the entrance, Ruchira.
Yeah. Like for PGCUET in generally in whole like in India. So not about the interest. I want to ask about the curriculum for school. Like somewhat it would be same na for the PGCUET because it is in media and in 4 years I'm studying media only, so that's why.
Oh, of course, definitely. I mean, that is bound to be the case. But it's not, I mean, are you asking if our curriculum is comparable? Of course it is.
No, Ruchira. I think what she's saying is that how should she prepare for the entrance of our corporate communication course? Is it going to be similar to the CUET? All India.
Her question is, while she is studying with us, is our curriculum preparing her for the postgraduate CUET entrance?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Of course, it will prepare you for that
Yes.
much more. It will help you to take on, much bigger challenges than that as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Most of the papers that you will, Shambhavi, most of the papers that you will take up will anyway prepare you for a master's. And as Professor Kishla said, that you have faculty advisors here. So at any point in time, you feel there is something extra that you want to prepare for, or you need some guidance, particularly for an entrance to a particular university, we're always there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
So, any other student? I think it's we have already answered almost all the questions in the first conversations. So I'll say thank you so much to Professor Kishle, Professor Ruchira, and Professor Ritika, Professor Supriya to join us today. And any other questions, students, if you have, you can directly contact Mr. Shivendra, who is already in direct touch with you. You can come to campus, you can meet me, you can meet the professors if they are available, and Shivendra will also help you to see the campus and all other facilities. For any other queries, please let us know, and you can text us also.
Thanks. Thanks so much. Thanks, Arpit and Shivendra. And I've mentioned this earlier, but let me say this again, that I'm extremely proud of my colleagues at JSJC, and the faculty that we have is comparable to the best universities in the world. So if you choose to study out here, one thing is guaranteed, that you will be mentored and taught by the best. And then you'll find your way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
I think someone was
Yes,
trying to say something.
Prince, yes, you wanted to say something.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Prince, please say.
Hello, sir. Very good evening, sir. I want to ask that if I take BA Journalism and Mass Communication, will get internship like in the Indian news channels like Aaj G News, News 18, and like Republic TV network directly, or like based on our performance, like after 4 to 5 work years, like in small news channels, after that we can get placed. Like because it is difficult to get like a job in like prominent news channels like Aaj, and like we are seeing the like what is the criteria, or when we get like a internship or job in these new channels, like if we have to work in these new channels?
Prince, internship are provided, and of course they'll have an interview. You will have to write an SOP, etc. But all these channels that you mentioned do take our interns from our from JSJC. And I'm happy to report that many of our alumni are already working in all these channels that you mentioned, from NDTV to Z to NewsX to Hindu to Millennium Post to Indian Express to PTI to Business Standard, Times of India, I mean, one of our students from the first batch, who is a London correspondent for a global media organization, has managed to pick up her second London correspondent job in less than 1 year. But they, of course, some of them, of course, did their PG as well after their journalism program out here. So they have been, I mean, all these organizations, all our students, alumni are working in many of these organizations that you mentioned. Anushka.
Hello?
Yes, Prince.
And sir, last.
Yes, Prince, go ahead. Okay. I think Anushka has a question.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, good evening. You are audible.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. My question was, with the JSAT coming up in the next week, what is the basic syllabus that we have to be prepared with?
So, Anushka, the syllabus of JSET is quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, and verbal ability. Okay, these all the three things. And Shivendra, I will request you to send her the sample papers, even these sample papers, to all the students for JSET. I think you might have already these sample papers with you.
Yes, sir.
And I will also tell you one thing, that sometimes we get the queries that why quantitative aptitude, because we are applying for the course of journalism. But don't get worried, because our weightage in the JSET is more towards the verbal ability. So whenever we do the scoring, the 50% weightage is to verbal ability, 30% weightage is to logical reasoning, and 20% weightage is to quantitative aptitude.
Thank you so much, sir.
So I request all these students, if you have not booked your JSET till now, please do it, because 18th is the last date, and after that, the JSET exam process will start. So I hope all the questions are answered. Thank you so much, professors. Thank you so much, parents and the students, for joining us. Let us know if any queries there. You can text us anytime. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.